Hello, race fans. This is Jason, and it's Speed Talk Online.
And I'm Dean. And yes, you can see us, you can hear us, but same old speed talk stuff. We're talking all kinds of cool racing. We had a heck of a race that we saw last week.
Yeah, it was real fun to announce with you, Dino. At Elko Speedway, we had the ARCA Menard series. Let me get this right. It was Starkey Night at the races, the Shore Lunch 250 presented by Dutch Boys Paints and the ARCA Menard series. Said that a lot Saturday night, but we had a blast. Wasn't it fun? William Sawalich, hometown hero from Eden Prairie. Remember, he almost won it last year. Came up and he had the dramatic moment at the end that we've all been wanting. And really, talk about this, Dean. This was something that, you don't see every day.
No, definitely not. I mean, I've seen a lot of comments from people after watching the end of this race, and we were both shell shocked as we were announcing it. And the race fans all said that too. One of the most incredible finishes they've ever seen anywhere, not just at Elko Speedway, but anywhere, and especially with the ARCA Menard series, which even made it even better. And then you throw in it was the hometown guy that won it too. So first time ever a Minnesota driver wins an ARCA race in Minnesota.
It was really cool too because of the Olympics, NASCAR was off. And so a lot of people were jonesing for their racing, right? And it was on FS1, Fox Sports 1. It was the big Fox Sports 1 was the race. And it was on at 8 o'clock instead of previous years where it's been on at 9 o'clock. And thank goodness the race was on at 8 o'clock. And they even had to, hurry it up a little bit to get that race going because it would have rained out otherwise. There was a lot of weather coming in, started the program a little bit early. I don't know if you saw the TV program, but it started with drivers start your engines. I mean, the race broadcast started with that.
And who was the one that was doing the introduction to that, by the way? It was you!
Me, which makes me incredibly nervous. I'm glad I didn't know about it at the time because, we're doing the driver intros and stuff like that. I'm introducing the VIPs, stuff like that. And the guy's saying, okay, stretch, stretch, stretch. And I'm like, oh, geez, I'm trying to think of everything to say about each driver. And then I interviewed William Sawalich. He's like, okay, stretch another 2 minutes. And so I was trying to think of something to get the crowd. He's like, get the crowd riled up. And so I'm like, any Packer fans in the house, and then who loves the Vikings, and everyone cheers. And I made the rookie mistake of getting the whole crowd to cheer real loud right before the drivers start your engines. And one of the drivers, I think it was Amber Balkan, actually started the car because she thought that was the roar of the crowd. I don't know if you caught that, but
I did hear that. I'm like, what the?
And the officials are going, no, shut it off. And then they were like, the guy goes to me, okay, 10 seconds and go, and I luckily didn't mess it up. And I didn't know that was going to be the beginning of the broadcast,
Well, see, with the weather coming in like that, and they call that a hot open right there. Normally there would have been about almost 10 minutes of, introduction, setting the race up and all that kind of stuff like that. But they knew weather was really going to be an issue in this race. And they had to adjust a little bit of the race too. We'll talk about that in just a second. And so you couldn't go on any sooner than 8 o'clock because that was the TV time. So regardless of how quick we wanted to start the race, we could only start as soon as TV came on at 8 o'clock. And then it's, go time. And it was boom, let's go to this Jason guy on the track.
And it was awesome. So Sawalich dominated really the first, it's a 250 lap race. He dominated the first 150 before he got spun out by the 99 car.
Yeah, and I didn't see that originally. I didn't see the original contact until watching the replay on TV. And boy, he really got dumped by the 99 car. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I saw an interview with the 99 afterwards, Maples, and he said, he said he didn't do anything intentionally. He was like, it looked like to me, William cut down, but he did not. William did not cut down. This guy was completely in the way and it was completely his fault. But that put the drama in the race that we probably would not have had because Sawalich was the fastest car. He got put to the back of the lead lap, which because he lapped so many cars was only 8 cars. But did you notice he had a tire going down?
Mm-hmm.
And luckily they changed the lap numbers, you know, so there was a caution, a mandatory caution at 175. And so he only had to hang on for a little bit. He was allowed to change that tire on the mandatory caution at 175. And then his car was able to come to life again. But how close it would have been if he could have been out on that.
Yeah. And then
it set up the drama.
And we were talking about LeVar Scott and his first ever win and such. By the way, he was involved in contact with the 99 also in that race too.
Yeah.
That's also the one that Isabella Robusto received some heavy damage on the front of his car. And boy, what a great run for her. It was very impressive for the young driver.
She got fourth. Yeah, she was aggressive. And I think she actually really has a future in this, but she was just behind the three that had all the drama here at the end. And I think if it's okay, Dean, I think I'm going to play our play-by-play at the end. So this sets it up where, you know, with the last, you know, 40 laps or whatever, Sawalich makes his way through the field, finally gets up to second place, but then the caution comes out with like 15 to go. Yellow flag comes out. All right. Everyone is set up. Oh my gosh, this is going to be the great finish we've been waiting for. Sawalich has the fastest car now. He's going to be in the front row. This is going to be great. You know what happens? Starts raining.
I heard just a little bit.
Oh my gosh. It was, I mean, people were taking their umbrellas out, Dean.
And there was lightning previous to that, slowly creeping its way in. And it was making a great light show, but we're like, don't get too close because this may end the race. I mean, there was enough distance in the race already that basically if it would have downpoured or the lightning would have got too close, that would have been it. It would have been over. And that would have taken all the excitement out of the finish.
Yeah. ARCA, you know, these are 14-second laps, right? We were down to 7 laps to go. Luckily, ARCA said, let her buck, boys. Let's see what happens. And so this is where we pick it up on the play-by-play. So I'm going to switch it over to our play-by-play here of you and I for the last 7 laps of the ARCA race. Green is out, and here we go! Scott got a good restart. Sawalich back to third, right up to second. Sawalich still on the high side. He might have spun his tires. Oh, Scott slides up! 3 wide! Oh! Scott's still the leader. Sawalich on the high side. He's fighting with Wright for second. 6 laps to go.
Wright holds the bottom. Sawalich on the outside, nose to nose through 3 and 4. LeVar Scott hanging on to the lead, but a lot of action right behind him.
Okay, so the leader has not ran away from the other 2. Here comes Sawalich. He's passed Wright. He's still going to have a shot at this thing.
4 laps to go this time by at the stripe.
Sawalich 1 car length behind Scott. He's running a half a groove up, nose to tail down the backstretch. Sawalich has been able to get lower than some of the other cars. Here he is, low out of corner 4, down the front stretch, half a car length. Scott with Sparks shooting behind. Here comes Sawalich on the inside. Door to door, down the backstretch. Side by side out of number 4. Sawalich is going to take the lead down the front stretch.
2 laps remaining in this one here at Elko, side by side. Sawalich squeezing it down as they go down the backstretch.
Oh, look at this. Here comes Scott fighting back on the inside. He doors them side by side. They are hitting down the front stretch. White flag is out. They're still door to door, bumping and banging all the way around this track. Scott comes back and takes the lead down the backstretch. Here he comes, though. Sawalich on the high side, foot to the floor, drag race, sideways.
Oh,
who got it? Who got it?
I think it's the 18.
Oh my
3 wide, a photo finish. It doesn't get any closer than that at Elko Speedway. 3 wide for the win.
We got to check. It was so close at the finish.
Officials are double checking right now. We'll get you a word here.
I tell you, the race fans think William Sawalich. That's who the race fans want for sure. What a finish. Wow, was that fun or what, Dino?
Wow, you play that in the morning, that'll get you pumped up for the whole day. I'll tell you,
Now,
that
some
is,
people might say we
it's
got a
still
little bit too
exciting.
excited there, but
Well, but it was exciting, and definitely you got the feeling that we were excited about that one. We were just like, wow.
I
I
haven't
mean,
seen
you just don't
anything
see
like
stuff
that.
like that.
And the drama like that doesn't usually happen, you know? And it happened so quick at the end. I, you know, when Sawallich took the lead with a lap and a half to go or whatever, I thought that was going to be it. Then Scott comes back and doors him on the inside, but they didn't wipe out, right? And so
Mhm.
then Sawallich just stays on the high side the whole last lap. You know, you thought that he'd back off and try to come down on the inside again, but he didn't. He stuck high and stayed there. And of course, that slows both of them down, which opens the door for Chris Wright to just make a crazy move at the last second for the inside. And just think if he would have won it at the
That
end.
could have been that. I mean, that very well could have happened. If they would have made that contact maybe, 50 feet sooner or something like that, he may have snuck by both of them and took the win. That would have been just as crazy and exciting. But, it's not like we said, the hometown hero coming in and taking the win. And then in victory lane afterwards, too, we were able to get all that stuff done. And then right after that, after we wrap things up basically from the track, the ARCA official comes up to me and says, please make an announcement that due to lightning, we need to evacuate the grandstands. Lightning normally within 8 miles would prompt that. It was within 6, but literally that was like 10 minutes or less after the end of the race. Had that come in any sooner, this exciting finish would have been all for naught. It
Yeah.
was that close to happening.
So
But fortunately, it happened.
Victory Lane, you put the boxes up on top of the car, you know, the sponsor boxes and stuff. They were just blowing off because the
There was a
wind,
huge gust of wind,
yeah, it just
huge gust
kept
of
on
wind.
coming through and they couldn't even get the photos with the boxes on top of the car because you'd set them on top of there. Boom, they just blow right off again.
Yeah.
But how about second place that LeVar Scott? You feel so bad for him. That would have been his first career win. And he did such a great job not wrecking William, okay, and racing him hard. But he's going to get his for sure.
Oh, no. And very gracious when you talk to him. It's, I mean,
Yeah.
TV didn't talk to him. You did.
Mhm.
So he was very, he could have said a lot of bad things, and he could have been very angry
He
and very upset.
congratulated William.
And he just was a class act, and that even makes me more of a fan of him right there. Not just his driving skill, but how he handled that situation. Because you see NASCAR drivers, they wouldn't have done that. They would have got out and they would have been grumbling and throwing punches and all kinds of stuff like that. And what a class act that LeVar Scott did. And I'm very impressed with him. And yeah, he's got to get a win soon because he's right there. He's right there
And, you know,
for
this
one.
might be the last time we see William Sawalich at Elko Speedway because he's moving up now to the Xfinity Series. He's racing at Homestead in Xfinity. He's going to be turning 18 soon. And then, you know, I don't know if he's ever going to come back in ARCA or not. And so I'm so glad that we got the big payoff. You know, he brought in so many people with Starkey Hearing and his organization. Talked to his mom down there. She was super happy. She's been posting on our Facebook posts and stuff like that, which is really cool. William liked our stuff on Twitter and stuff too. So, you know, it's cool. It's cool to have someone local. We had Sammy Smith, you know, who raced at Elko Speedway, but it seems like William's more our guy, you know, because he's just been more receptive to it, you know, and this is his hometown and this is his home track where he grew up, where, you know, Sammy Smith raced at a lot of different places, including Elko Speedway. So he's like our guy now. And so it's really cool that we finally got the payoff. It doesn't usually work out like that.
No, not for the Minnesota drivers.
Yeah.
Though, and looking at the crowd in Victory Lane, a lot of people in Victory Lane congratulating him. Did see a couple of other Minnesota racer people, and maybe the next one we may see, and that was Ty and Danny Fredrickson. I saw them both down there congratulating William and such. So who knows? Maybe that'll open up a door for Ty Fredericks, and we got a chance to interview him during one of the breaks in the action there. And he's a promising young driver, and he might be our next ARCA star.
Yeah, you never know. He's definitely the Midwest Tour star. I mean, being so young and being so successful, they're going to be coming for Thunderstruck in the Midwest Tour race, and that'll be Saturday, September 21st at Elko Speedway. So the super late models are coming back, and how well he's done in a super is very impressive, and he really is turning some heads for sure. But wrapping up this ARCA
Well, I
race.
got one little story here
Okay.
for you here.
Okay.
After the races, I stopped at the Quick Trip right next to the
Hmm.
racetrack and stuff like that. And it was raining, and I was getting going out, getting ready to get back on the road again
Yeah. Big crowd.
to head home. Yeah,
Lots
a
of
lot of
traffic.
people. Yeah, big crowd. Took a while for traffic to clear. And as I'm going by the gas pumps, I just happened to look over my shoulder and I saw this pickup truck with a flat trailer on it. And I thought, well, geez, what's that? And it's like, oh, the race car. Oh, it must be one of the Elko local guys. No, it was the '06 of Nate Muller on an open trailer for an ARCA
Really?
event. And yeah, and they had the under, they had just a regular or what, pickup truck pulling it, open trailer underneath on the back. They had their tire cart kind of jammed underneath there, and that's all they had. That's what they did. They competed. They ended up finishing 19th out of 20 cars in attendance. But here they are with an open trailer. Not even most of the Elko regulars come with an open trailer. And here's a guy for ARCA nationally televised race. So I thought that was kind of fun to see. I should have took a picture, but I was driving and I was trying to deal with the weather and traffic and stuff in the parking lot. But I thought, well, what a cool thing that was.
Some other notables, EJ Tomeo, first ever race in ARCA, 17 years old, finishes sixth on the lead lap. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, very much so. That was really impressive. Of course, we mentioned Isabella Robusto, very impressive there. She was strong, all kind of not the fastest, but she was right in there all race long, and she even overcome some adversity as she got tangled up and had her hood crumpled up right before one of the breaks there. Fortunately, they got it repaired and really didn't shave any speed off the car too. So she's another one of those drivers to watch.
Now, just think of the history of this race at Elko Speedway. This is the 10th one that we've had. It was Brennan Poole winning the first one. So that was way back in 2012. But if you look at that race, there was a lot of huge names in that
Oh
race.
yeah.
Now, this was only a 200 lap race. They've all been 250 laps after this. Chris Buescher, right here, finished in third. Frank Kimmel, of course, the legend, fourth.
Yep.
How about local Joey Miller, sixth?
Yep.
Eric Jones, of course, now in the Cup Series, eighth. Alex Bowman driving the 48 car in the Cup Series, 11th. Steve Arpin, of course, he's been very famous with the X Games and such. He finished in 12th. And here's James Hilton.
Yep.
And so that's pretty cool that there were so many big names just in that race.
And that's why the cool thing too, we didn't mention this beforehand, and they moved that up. They didn't cut it because of the weather and stuff like that. Kept the autograph session in, and that's really a cool thing when they have that. I mean, no other big series does that before a race, and that's kind of a big part of the ARCA Menard series is having that autograph session where you get the chance to go out there and talk to the drivers and get their autographs, take a selfie and stuff like that. And you never know where these drivers are going to go. And I know a lot of the smart race fans out there know, hey, this person's going some places, so I want to get my picture with them. I want to go and get their autograph. So that's really a cool thing, and I'm so glad they do that. It's a fun event, and I know as an announcer, it's kind of cool to go down there and talk to the drivers a little bit beforehand. They're a little more low key before the race and such, and just a great time for their sponsors and for the fans, to interact with the drivers, and they can say, hey, I talked to that guy, and now they're running for the lead.
Yeah,
so
and then
it's a great thing.
You become a fan of them, really. And really, that's what stunk about last year, because remember, we had all that rain last year. Frankie Muniz, he, what is it? Malcolm in the Middle, right? The actor. They did a little bit, because of the rain, they couldn't do the on-track autograph session. And so they just hurriedly brought all the drivers out and brought some tables out, and they did an impromptu one there on the side over by Victory Lane. And so, but in previous years, we've brought everyone out just like we did last Saturday night, and it's been fantastic. And that's another thing we missed over the pandemic. That 1 year of the pandemic, the drivers had to be separated from the fans with a wall. And so they could reach over the wall and take a picture, like this.
It was weird. They were trying at least.
Well, at least we were trying, yeah.
Yes. And then last year, remember, because of the rain and the TV schedule, we ran the race first and then ran the local races after, which was not the original plan. That made a really late night for everybody. Good thing we didn't do that this year, because it wouldn't have happened with the rain coming and the storm coming and stuff like that. That would have been the end of it right there. But we were able to get the local races in. So that was a good thing. And that was a lot of local guys like that because they get to race on the same track and get, be around all those big teams and those big wigs in racing there and put on a show for the locals with the local events. Had to trim a couple of laps off there because of the time, but really put on some great racing as well too.
See, Frank Kimmel won the second race. It was Kenny Schrader who was the fast timer. And of course, he's a big star in NASCAR over the years. And so, I don't know, it's really cool. Austin Terrio, Gus Dean, Chandler Smith, Justin Haley was racing in one of these races. Grant Infinger won, Chandler Smith, Corey Heim, Sammy Smith, Jesse Love, and William Swalich. Of course, it was Ty Gibbs, who, was a fast timer there as well. And so this race has a lot of history and it's been fun. I'm really glad we got a chance to, continue the ARCA race at Elko Speedway. And like you were saying with the local stuff, really, I thought they put on a really good show. The first was the Power Stocks, and they had a really tough time. They haven't had a race like this all year long with 4 cautions, right?
Yeah.
So that was kind of a tough race, but it was Stair who ended up winning it, Mike Stair.
And he's had to work his way through the field too. So there's a lot of that going on.
5th row. And then Jesse Fisher was second. The big story of that race was Julie Jorgensen, who the defending champion. She ended up with the DNF. And with how close it is in points, that's really going to hurt her. And then in the Thunder Cars, now that was 4 cautions. So that race itself took like 35 minutes, right?
It took a big part of the window for the local racing.
Yeah. And so the other 2 races had no cautions at all. In the Thunder Cars, 25 laps, and it was Brent Kane who ended up winning his 7th.
He had to come through the field too as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he started 9th. And then Tommy Sorum, finished 2nd. And that's the thing, or no, 3rd. And he's been in the top 3 every single race this year. And that's why he's doing so well in points. And then in the late models, it was Racing Ryan Varner who got his first win of the season, which is pretty cool. Chad Wallen ended up getting 2nd, but fast timer was Jake Ryan again. And so he finished 6th. So I think that's like one of his worst finishes of the year so far as, as far as it goes with him. And so it's been interesting. I think I have the results up here. Actually, I have the points. Yes. So let's look at the points at Elko Speedway. In the late models, it's Jake Ryan is your point leader by 28 over Chad Wallen. But look at this. Jake Ryan, 4 wins. Chad Wallen, 0.
Yeah, it's surprising because I expected Chad Wallen to be in victory lane several times at this point of the season. Long ways to go before it's over yet. And, you could have one of those nights where you can knock out 2 wins in a night too. So he could catch up really quickly if he has a couple of really, really good nights. And Jake Ryan has some trouble, and that can happen.
Well, yeah, it doesn't take much. Chad Wallen, they have the same number of top 5s right here. And Wallen's done really well in qualifying. So then you look down at the Thunder Cars, and Brent Kane, 7 wins, but only a 29-point lead over Tommy Sorum, 0 wins. Tommy Sorum actually has more top 3s than Brent Kane. Isn't that crazy?
That is kind of wild.
Every race so far this year, he's finished first. Well, he's finished 2nd or 3rd because he haven't had one yet. So he's finished 2nd or 3rd every single race this year. So that's consistency. That's why he's only 29 out of the lead.
Wow.
And then you go down to the Power Stocks, and this is going to be a dogfight all the way to the end. Jesse Fisher, 3 wins. Mike Stair, 3 wins, only 10 points apart. Jimmy Jorgensen, 2 wins, 15 points out. With that DNF, Julie Jorgensen drops way back 43 points out.
Yeah, that really hurt her. But I'll tell you, it's fun to watch how the points are starting to stack up here. And yeah, one bad night can really hurt you. But, you get a couple of good nights and somebody else gets some misfortune, can change things around pretty quickly as well, too. So
I'm going to show you something.
Plenty of racing has to go, so that's a cool thing.
No, that's the thing here. I bet you I'll show you something that you might be surprised at, Dean. Look at this. This is the schedule. Elko Speedway 2024 season schedule. One night, rain out. Second night, 3rd night, 4th night, 5th night. We've raced 5 times this year. Yeah. How many races do we have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So
we're exactly halfway through the season. at Elko Speedway. So
And some big events too. Thunderstruck's coming up here. I'm excited about that one. We previewed a little bit of that on Saturday night when we talked to Ty Fredrickson about that one. Well, like I said, very impressive young driver, and expect him to be right up there in the mix when the Midwest Tour cars come out.
Surprising things, or maybe something that, you know, is different at this race. We commented when we were announcing the ARCA race that we saw a truck driving around the track during caution with something dragging behind it. And we were like, it looks like something you'd see on a dirt track, you know, to smooth out the surface. And we were like, what the heck is this? Well, you did a little research, and what'd you find out?
Well, it's called a FOD, or FOD, Matt, and foreign object debris is what it stands for. And that's a term that they use a lot of times in aviation for checking runways for debris and stuff like that. Basically, it's a big mat that it's got some weights on it, so it kind of drags along the racetrack, collects parts and pieces such as screws, pieces of metal, rivets. Also, I think it takes some of the speedy dry too and moves that off. Instead of just sweeping it or blowing it, where you're just pushing it around, this actually collects it. And then when you pull into the pits like they did, they just lift up the mat, kind of shake it on out like you're shaking out your rug, and all the dirt and all the debris just falls in a pile. It's a really cool thing. I don't know what the cost is of it, but it sure seems like it's a lot cheaper than the sweeper. And it definitely seems like it does a better job than a sweeper out there. And the nice thing about it is during caution laps and little breaks in the action, you can make a couple of laps with that and pretty much clean the track. You can't do that with a sweeper. A jet dryer is going to blow stuff at people and make a lot of noise and cause a lot of problems with that. This is a great thing. And I know after watching a video about it after the race, because I didn't know a whole lot about this, these are on the bigger NASCAR tracks. We don't see that because they're usually drawn commercial when they use that. So that's why we don't see it on a regular basis, because TV's on the commercial when they use that. But I think something definitely for a short track. I hope Elko Speedway thinks about investing in one of those, and I'd like to see other tracks because, as you noticed, we didn't have any cut tires or any kind of stuff like that. They went out there and made a couple laps on the brakes there and cleaned things up, and there wasn't issues with that, because there's been issues in the past, and not just at Elko but at other tracks, picking up debris and puncturing tires, and really kind of destroys the flow of the race. This doesn't. So I'm really excited to see that, and glad NASCAR and ARCA Menard Series decided to bring that out.
Yeah, me too. The other thing I wanted to mention is I got to meet this guy, Jim Trado, who is, I think, really, you know, the best of the best when it comes to PA announcers. And of course, you and I are fans of different PA announcers. He loves local racing, and he cares, and he pays attention, and he knows what the fans want, and he's just so professional. And he was, I think, doing the Flow Racing broadcast, right? And so he was there.
I didn't watch the Flow. I just saw the
because everyone watching on FS1. But I mean, for as far as the internet stuff, that's where you'd watch it, and that's why he was there. And he's been at other Elko races too for the Menard ARCA Menard Series. And so, super nice. I'm so glad I got a chance to meet him and tell him that I appreciated his work. And he says he
knows of us too. So it's like.
Yeah, he's a big fan of Elko Speedway, and so
he's from the Milwaukee area and does a lot of stuff with the Milwaukee Mile too, and the public address announcer for the Daytona International Speedway. So I mean, that's a pretty cool gig.
Yeah,
I would love that little thing there. Plus, he's on a sort of TV things too. I think he does a lot of stuff with the Midwest Tour too. So don't be surprised if we see him back here in September when the Midwest Tour rolls back in the town.
Oh, I'd love that for sure. Hey, speaking of the next time we race, which is the 17th of August, so not this Saturday, but the Saturday after, we're doing all, you know, it's EVA destruction. So all the crazy stuff is normal, all 5 divisions racing. Plus, it's the annual Dwayne Barron's race, memorial race. And I think it's the 31st Dwayne Barron's race.
Wow.
Jacob Gady has won a bunch of them. Danny Fredrickson won a couple of them back in the day. Hopefully he's going to be racing Ty, and Donnie Reavers has won a bunch of them. Even Matt Gady won one time. Owen Giles has won a bunch of them recently. And so it's definitely, if you're a fan of late model racing, this is the night to go. And so you definitely don't want to miss that. They usually make it a longer race. They've done it in different formats in the past. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to do it this year, but it's always drama every single time. And the guys want it bad. Maybe Jacob Gady will be back. I don't think Lacrosse is racing that night. So
Oh yeah, and he wanted to come back on one of
Yeah.
the rain out nights too. He had the
Hmm.
car ready to go and everything, and then it rained out. And it's like so he's doing a good job down at Lacrosse. We'll
Yeah.
give him
Leading
props for
points.
that. So we'll kind of excited to see him come back though. Kind of
Hmm.
interesting to see now because he hasn't raced at Elko this year to see where he stands and all and stuff like that. And I think he's going to run a different car than we were used to seeing, not the Dreamsicle car that we're seeing. He's going to bring the red one out. We don't
Hmm.
see. I mean, we didn't see the red one that often in years
Yeah, but
past. Once in a while, he'd bring that out, but he wouldn't race the red one very often. So
really
be kind of
looking forward
interesting to
to it.
see.
Also, you and I have been involved in the Jeremy Johnson Memorial Sportsmanship Award. And this was started, that was quite a while ago. It was at Raceway Park. Well, actually, it was before that. It was at I-94 Raceway in Sauk Center
Yep.
because Jeremy was a crew member up there of numerous drivers like Roach and Lure and Tim Olson and Robbie Thurston.
Yep.
And so a lot of different guys. And then he passed away. He was killed by a drunk driver. And so we had a memorial race for him in the late models. And then when I-94 was no more, I thought it was bad that, we couldn't carry on that tradition. And so then we
Mhm.
started this sportsmanship award. And who was the first winner of it? Do you remember?
Oh God! Don't put me on the spot. I cannot
I
remember.
remember it was at Raceway Park,
Oh, I can't
figure eight
remember.
driver.
I
Remember,
don't know.
he wrecked his car. No, 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 no. He borrowed his car to someone to finish out the championship, and the car ended up getting totaled.
Oh.
And that's what brought it up. It was Bronstead.
Mark Bronson.
Mark
I thought I was
Bronstead.
gonna guess, but I didn't want
Yeah.
to guess
Yeah, it
wrong.
was the first winner.
Oh
And
man,
then
what an
I was
awesome
just trying to
guy.
remember who some other winners were. So Richard Tim from Discount Taxi,
Yep.
Kathy Ho,
Yep.
Adam Broccoli, our
Yep.
chaplain. Brent Kane won it last year.
Yep.
Joe Valento with his Friends of Jacqueline Foundation.
Yep.
Faith Olson, of course, we all
Yes.
love Faith, Tim's wife. Natalie from Cedarview,
Yep.
Mama Wolf. I might be
Mm-hmm.
forgetting some. Did Molly Rhodes win?
I believe so, yes. I
Yeah.
believe so.
So we can look
7K
at
7K racing?
7K Racing, of course, the Kashatis ended
The
up
whole
winning it.
team. That was the first team that we ever
Mhm.
had that.
And so it has not been revealed who the winner will be, and we'll do it at some point on the
It'll
next
be a
race night. So,
secret. We'll
yeah,
talk about that on our next installment when we do this probably about another month. We've been doing this about once a month here, so it's kind of cool.
yeah. It's
Instead of
so
doing a
cool
weekly
though
thing, it's fun to do this and get a chance to visit.
that Jeremy's, history has lived on at the racetrack. Hit Marcus, his brother, doing tech at Elko
Mm-hmm.
Speedway. And now Jeremy's dad is helping out at the racetrack as well. And Jeremy's other brother has been at the track recently as well. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really fantastic that, Jeremy's legacy of just being a great crew guy, just helping out a bunch of people is living
Yep.
on.
Yep. Helping out wherever he can. In fact, at a ASA race at Elko, he was helping out one of the teams. They were short on pit crew guys, and he was helping out. He broke his arm helping out changing
Yeah.
tires. So I mean, talk about a guy who sacrifices a body part for you. So definitely a great guy, and we definitely miss him in the racing world because he was a very special person to a lot of people, and this is a good way to keep his memory alive and show some recognition to people, not necessarily the people that win championships and are always running up front, but people that contribute to the sport in so many different ways. That's the kind of the spirit of this award.
Yeah, just kind of helping other people out was always been kind of the theme of it. Do you have anything else on Elko, Dino, or before we get to Iowa?
No, we can mosey on down the road to Iowa here, and well, you did the moseying. I didn't do any moseying. You did the moseying here a few weeks ago, and a little bit different experience than in years past that at Iowa Speedway.
Well, the thing was, McLaughlin ended up winning the first race. So that's really cool, Scotty McLaughlin. And then, the second race, it was Will Power who ended up winning that one, and you just look at the results, you go, yeah, that looks like a, Iowa Speedway race. But it wasn't. It wasn't a normal Iowa Speedway race. Of course, we bring in Hy-Vee has been a fantastic sponsor, and I wrote about this in the Midwest Racing Connection. I've been writing for that Dan Plan for over a decade now, and I've never once written a negative article in all those years until now, because it just was driving me crazy how Iowa Speedway has done such a great job, the organization, to bring in these musical acts and bring in these non-traditional race fans and bring in all these people with Hy-Vee from all over 30,000 people per day. So the attendance was over 80,000 people. Okay. There's a Friday free day and then Saturday and Sunday. And people aren't, they're paying decent money. And these tickets that we had were $150 a piece. Okay. Each day. So that's $300 we paid. We saw 0 on-track passes in 2 days. Zero.
It's like watching Formula One.
It was a follow the leader. I said it was like a parade. Bring out the Shriners and maybe a drum line or something, and it would have been a better show, because nobody could pass. And then why is that? Why did that happen? Well, NASCAR repaved part of the track.
And NASCAR owns the track.
NASCAR owns the track. It went bankrupt. NASCAR bought it so it wouldn't go away. We're all very happy about that. Okay. The Cup race ended up being good because those guys can bump and bang and get around each other. These IndyCar guys cannot. And they had one line on the very, very bottom. It was 7 miles an hour faster than it was, so it made it even less of a groove. And their tires would not go away. They did not wear out at all. So changing tires and coming back out gave you no advantage at all. So there's no strategy. And it was boring. And even the drivers admitted that it was boring. And that's not acceptable. Okay. So you have to do something different. You can't just, this is such a great opportunity to promote motorsports, and they did not. Okay.
Yep,
they ruined it. They ruined it. They made it. They made it into the cliche of there's only cars going around in a circle. That's all it is, because that's what it was. And we fight so hard to tell people it's more than that. Look at the strategy. Look at this. Look at the personalities. Nothing, because it was just cars going around in a circle, and there was no passing, and it was boring.
The only action that happened actually happened after the checkered flag on Sunday, when one car got upside down. Fortunately, the driver was okay, but
Stingray Rob.
Yeah. What a cool name. By the way, that's a cool name. We got to mention that. At first, I'm like, is that like real? Or that's just like that's his real name. Yeah. Obviously, you know what his parents like.
We met him. Yeah.
His parents like Corvettes.
He was pretty cool. Yeah.
I don't know. They called him Stingray.
I loved it. On Friday, I got to meet a bunch of the drivers. I got a selfie with Pato O'Ward, and I thought, I don't know, I just had a great time with that. And then they started racing, and then I just got in a bad mood because I wanted to like it so much.
The best part of the whole weekend was before the racing. The actual racing wasn't the best part. It was before the races was the best part, which is a little bit unusual, but it wasn't an unusual weekend at Iowa Speedway, that's for sure.
So they're going to do it again.
Hopefully they get it fixed. I don't know what the game plan is for repaving the track, but they got time now. The schedule hasn't been announced for next year, other than the fact that IndyCar is coming back. They did renew that, but we don't know about NASCAR because NASCAR is still humming and hawing about their schedule. They supposedly were going to announce it like a month ago, and now I heard it might be another month before they announce it. So it'd be kind of nice to know for sure if Cup cars are coming back next year. Probably, but we don't know that for sure.
Well, anybody's
guess.
Another thing that could really mess up the NASCAR schedule is the Super Bowl. They're thinking of moving the Super Bowl back, which would mean that it would change the dates for the Daytona 500. We can't have the Daytona 500 on Super Bowl Sunday, okay?
No.
So we have to adjust to football. And so that's another thing. And they haven't decided how they're going to do that. And so that's another thing.
There is one little thing about moving the Super Bowl that would be kind of nice for some people. Not push the racing aside momentarily. It would be on President's Day weekend. So people would have the day off. It would be a legal holiday the day after the Super Bowl, which people always said.
Some people would have it.
Not me. I never get those legal holidays off. I've never got one of those off in my life, except when I went to school. And and that was back in high school, I think. Even in college, I think we had class.
I've watched
But
the Daytona 500 till 2 a.m. and then woke up at 5 a.m. to go to work.
yeah, we've had some late night and next day Daytona
Yeah.
500s in the last few years too. We've had some Monday ones too.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
but
well,
yeah,
that
we'll
ends
we'll
my
see.
rant for
We'll talk about
IndyCar.
that. We'll talk about
They,
that on our
they
next
they
one because they'll
have
have the
to
schedule out.
finish repaving the track. If they're not going to do that, they need to bring a tire that goes away. So we have
Mhm.
someone could pit early and get some advantage. Dean, we've been there at
Oh
these
yeah.
great races. I mean, there's been so many great races at Iowa Speedway in the IndyCar series.
Oh yeah.
And
Side by side
why
for the
can't we
win.
get one of those with a big crowd? When we were going there, the crowd was like 15,000, right?
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
there's 30 to 40,000 per day.
Yeah.
2 days, and they put on the worst race of all time.
Yeah. Wow. Well, there isn't any more racing scheduled there for this year. So you know what I would be doing right now?
I
Out
can
there paving the track. That's what
I'll
they should be
start
doing.
digging it out. Okay. I volunteer.
Yeah, we'll go out there and help roll it in or something like that. They put
Yeah.
the asphalt down. We'll drive around. We'll drive those rollers things and pack it down there for
Yeah.
them. That'll be
I
kind
don't
of
know.
fun.
We love that place. I love that place so
It's
much.
an
And
awesome place.
I don't, it makes me mad when they put on such a terrible race.
Well,
And it,
and then the other thing is we know what that racetrack is capable of and for the races. But say you've never been to a race before,
yeah,
and this was your first race, you're going to go, "Well, that wasn't very
no,
exciting.
the
Do I
concerts
want to
were
come back?"
good. The food
Yeah,
was good. Oh, I got lots of free stuff like at the state fair. This is great. And then the racing was on and it was boring.
yeah. So Iowa Speedway, listen up,
Yeah.
fix it.
And it's IndyCar that messed it up, or NASCAR. I don't know. It's
NASCAR.
Iowa Speedway. They're doing everything right. Well, as far as, High V and all that. And now High
Mhm.
V is sponsoring the Milwaukee Mile and bringing IndyCar to Milwaukee Mile, which is wonderful. But I just don't want to lose Iowa.
No, no, we don't want to do that.
Yeah. All right. Well, Dino, it was really fun to announce with you again. At least we get to do this at least once a year.
Yeah, maybe usually another time. I
Mhm.
don't think I have any more scheduled this year, but you never know. And when I'm in the crowd, I just told somebody the other night. I said, "Well, I'm here just about every night that we're racing. So if you ever need me, you just grab me out of the stands.
Yeah.
I'll roll up there if I need to." But I don't think so. You do a great job. It's such a pleasure and just so much fun to work with you because just like this doing this video here, we could just flow right back and forth, and
Well,
it makes it pretty easy and makes it pretty fun.
I guess most people know, but maybe some people don't. We've been working together. Well, we've been doing a show together since 2001. And
Really?
we were working before
Wow.
that together, both at the same place at I-94 and Sauk Center. But we did a show together starting in 2001. So
Yeah, on
that,
various different forms here. We've done it on several radio stations. We've done it on TV. We've done it on cable access TV. We've done it on everything. So why wouldn't we be doing it like this
yeah,
on the internet? This is the one form of thing that's real popular right now, and now we're doing that too. So we've been on just about every kind of thing, except we didn't do a telegraph or anything like that. We could probably Morse code. We could Morse code the show or something like that. That probably would have predated what we've done now. But we've been on just about every different kind of form of broadcast, one way, shape, or form over the years. So it's been a blast, and it continues to be a blast. And
yeah,
we'll just keep on doing it.
yeah. We're certainly not doing it for the money. We do it because we love it. So, yeah,
Oh, you
both
owe
and
me
I.
for this one here now.
Oh, shoot. I forgot to say that. Yeah,
Ah,
we're not
turn it.
paying you anymore.
Ah,
So,
no, bye. No.
thanks
Well,
everyone for watching.
yeah, we'll do another one of these here, at least one more before the end of the year. That's for sure.
You bet. I'm Jason,
I'm Dean. We'll
and we'll
see
see you
you
at the
at the
track.
track.